Good evening, everyone. Yesterday, December 8th, the Politburo of the CCP Central Committee held its regular December meeting. The official agenda contained only two items. First, to analyze and study economic work for 2026, in effect, setting the tone and warming up for the annual Central Economic Work Conference that will follow in a few days. Second, to deliberate and adopt the regulations on the work of the Communist Party of China in comprehensively leading the rule of law. Yet what the outside world truly focused on was still the same question that has dominated recent cycles: whether Ma Xingrui and Li Shi attended the meeting or not. This single fact already reveals a critical reality. Both inside and outside the system, practically no one any longer harbors genuine hope for China's economy. Some friends may find this puzzling. After all, didn't China's exports just set a new historical record, breaking the $1 trillion mark for the first time? Shouldn't that prove the Chinese economy has hardly been affected by Trump's trade war and remains extremely robust? Yes, the CCP's exports are indeed very strong, but strong exports do not equate to effective economic policy. These are two entirely different concepts. The severe debt crisis and deflationary spiral facing the CCP have not been resolved. On the contrary, they continue to worsen. The most direct evidence of this is the recent explosion of tower-rushing videos on domestic social media platforms and the viral explosion of videos reinterpreting the film Youth of Fanla. Behind these social phenomena lies a deep thread of grave social crisis. Today is December 9th Eastern Time. I am Tang Jingyuan. Welcome to Jingyuan Commentary. Please also subscribe to our channel so that together we can use an objective perspective, logic, and common sense to excavate the truth hidden behind the news. Yesterday, Xinhua released the official communiqué of the December Politburo meeting. The section on next year's economic work was, from beginning to end, the same old cliches: overall stability, steady progress while maintaining stability, continuously expanding domestic demand, building a unified national market, and so forth. There was essentially nothing new. Judging from this tone, the Central Economic Work Conference to be held later this month will likewise offer nothing of real substance. The fundamental reasons Xi Jinping has ruined China's economy can be summarized in 2 points. Domestically, he has driven history into reverse at full throttle. In order to protect the party, he has strangled private enterprise on a massive scale, pushed aggressive state advance, private retreat, and then imposed 3 years of zero-COVID lockdowns and citywide closures. The result has been the collapse of pillar industries such as real estate and the destruction of countless small and medium enterprises, leaving the nation's vitality severely damaged. Externally, he launched wolf warrior diplomacy and the East Rising, West Falling narrative, triggering a mass exodus of foreign capital and united economic and trade containment by Europe and the United States. In particular, the United States has completely lost trust in the CCP. Trump's National Security Strategy documents and the just-passed National Defense Authorization Act are clear proof of this. Neither of these two root causes has been addressed in the slightest. Although, after Xi Jinping's power has effectively been hollowed out through the recent succession transition, the elder faction has in practice begun to execute a U-turn, showing weakness toward the U.S. and making a sharp policy pivot. This is merely treating symptoms, not the disease. Moreover, Chuyu Baodong Xiyao, the authorities can only turn the wheel very slowly. In intrasystem language, if this giant ship turns too sharply, it will capsize, so they can only proceed gradually. Yet the internal and external crises facing the CCP wait for no one. In recent days, a series of contents collectively known as tower rushing, highly sensitive historical and political material, has appeared in rapid succession on Douyin, Chinese TikTok. These include material touching on current focal figures such as Xi Jinping, Hu Jintao, and Wang Yang, as well as long-band figures and events, Zhao Ziyang, Chai Ling, and large amounts of discussion about June 4th. Within just a few days, this material spread at astonishing speed and on an astonishing scale, shocking both domestic and overseas netizens. Many described it as a tower-rushing wave not seen in years. The trigger appears to have been a Douyin account uploading a 2006 CCTV interview of Hu Jintao, conducted by former CCTV journalist Chai Jing. Unexpectedly, this 10-plus minute video rapidly garnered millions of views. The comment section immediately filled with nostalgic sentiments about Hu Jintao, how wonderful the Jintao era was, we miss Chairman Hu, and so forth, quickly evolving into comparisons with the present and triggering chain discussions. As everyone knows, both Chai Jing and Hu Jintao have long been sensitive figures. So the fact this video circulated on Douyin without being deleted was regarded as an extraordinary signal and directly ignited the subsequent wave of sensitive content. Soon after, large numbers of videos appeared listing the dates on which various provinces declared independence during the 1911 Xinhai Revolution, presented in tables or animated form. Although ostensibly historical education, everyone understood the implication. Comments employing veiled sarcasm exploded, and unusually, almost all were overwhelmingly positive. Next came videos introducing South Korea's June 3rd movement of 1964. Although a foreign historical event, netizens immediately used the comment section to allude to China's own 8964, drawing more people into coded discussions. These videos quickly became some of the most highly elusive content on the platform. From this point, the tower-rushing tide entered its most intense phase. Real footage from June 4th documentaries began circulating on Douyin. The most iconic clip showed the nameless student with a red cloth tied around his head, riding a bicycle toward Tiananmen Square. Stopped by a foreign reporter who asked why he was going, he answered firmly, to demonstrate at Tiananmen Square. When pressed for the reason, he delivered the line that entered history. I think it's my duty. Everyone knows this type of footage has always been absolute taboo. Its appearance caused shock across the platform. Countless netizens wrote, "This is the first time I've ever seen this on Douyin." The escalation did not stop there. Some users began posting historical footage of former General Secretary Zhao Zhang visiting fasting students in Tiananmen Square in 1989, using coded hashtags such as like a purple sun hashtag Zhao to evade filters. In the comments sections, people openly wrote 8,964 and even pasted Zhao's original words from a square, breaking normal censorship limits and creating extremely rare open discussion. The topic then expanded laterally. Videos with removal from office or dismissal themes began appearing. Although no one explicitly named names, everyone understood perfectly. Because highly sensitive content kept appearing without being taken down, many netizens began speculating that platform censorship had loosened or was delayed. Some even joked, lately opening Douyin feels like entering YouTube. Where there is content attacking the current leadership, there is naturally content defending it. And the figure being defended was Wang Yang. Using the once popular mainland cartoon character Baldy Chong, Gungto-chin, users created short clips splicing Wang Yang's past public speeches, the most famous being, "Pursuing happiness is the people's right. Bringing well-being to the people is the government's duty. We must break the erroneous theory that people's happiness is a gift bestowed by the government." These clips spread rapidly and drew massive praise. The most shocking and controversial, however, was an original video titled Bear 2's Criticism and Struggle Session. Although the protagonist was the cartoon bear, the content was so highly elusive that it was widely interpreted as satirizing Xi Jinping. Some commenters even directly posted photos of Xi Zhongxuan being struggled against, pushing the entire tower-rushing wave to its peak of sensitivity. Remarkably, the Douyin tower-rushing phenomenon was not isolated. Around the same time on Bilibili, the video platform dominated by younger users, a movie commentary channel named Let's Talk Movies uploaded, starting November 2nd, a 3-part, 1-hour, 40-minute analysis of Feng Xiaozhang's film Youth. After the final episode dropped on November 29th, the series instantly went viral across Chinese social media, at one point drawing tens of thousands of simultaneous viewers, even in the middle of the night. These commentary videos rapidly triggered a wave of nostalgia for the Cultural Revolution. After reaching 35 million views, the entire series was taken down. If the Douyin Tower rushing tide expressed longing for the period when China came closest to democracy and civilization, the explosive popularity of the youth commentary videos did the exact opposite. It directly repackaged the Cultural Revolution and Mao Zedong, and even Cultural Revolution enforcer Wang Hongwan, in a positive light. The Cultural Revolution was portrayed as a society of equality for all. Mao, as a thinker so far ahead of his time, he was practically a god. And Wang Hongwan, as a minister who advocated reform but offended vested interests, and was therefore written by the victors as a treacherous villain. Everyone knows that Youth, adapted from Yin Geling's novel, was originally intended to reflect on the injustice of Cultural Revolution society and the destruction it wrought on human nature. After Feng Xiaojiang's film version was released, it already drew criticism for inadvertently beautifying that era. Yet this Bilibili commentary took revisionism to the extreme, openly whitewashing and resurrecting the Cultural Revolution soul. Although the themes of the two platform phenomena are diametrically opposed, they point in exactly the same direction. The people long for change. And behind that longing for change lies enormous discontent with the status quo, a discontent that has swelled to the critical point where it must be vented. The difference between Douyin and Bilibili lies in this. Douyin users are beginning to realize that the system itself is the root cause that repeatedly drags China away from civilization and into cycles of tyrannical rule. This reflects a spontaneous enlightenment toward constitutional democracy. Bilibili's audience, facing extreme wealth polarization and social injustice, hopes instead to replace gradual reform with rapid, violent revolutionary narrative, so that they too can, like Wang Hongwan, achieve a meteor-class leap and become winners in a second cultural revolution. The two phenomena may share the same root cause, but they have chosen opposite directions. Even though the Bilibili youth commentary has been removed, its 35 million views in just a few days tell us a brutal truth. Decades of party culture brainwashing combined with the current economic cliff have produced a huge latent Red Guard cohort in Chinese society. Should this fanatical force ever explode under some triggering factor, the very first to be destroyed will be today's red aristocrats. In other words, even though China's exports hit a new record this year, the enormous profits have not truly reached ordinary citizens. Let alone getting a share of the meat. Most people haven't even tasted the soup. Otherwise, with exports performing not just fairly well, but spectacularly, why would tens of millions of potential rebels suddenly emerge wanting a second cultural revolution? The essence of the Cultural Revolution is rebellion. Overthrow the current power holders, then the rebels become the new power holders, only to be overthrown by the next wave of rebels. An endless cycle. When a regime's narrative completely fails and can solve nothing, revolutionary narrative becomes inevitable. Whether that revolution remains an inward-directed, knife-against-knife fratricide within the system or becomes an outright dynastic overthrow will, we must acknowledge, likely depend on the choice of a small handful of people at the very top. In the past few days, many of you have probably seen the viral story of Canon closing its Zhongshan factory in Guangdong. Online sentiment was overwhelmingly praise and reluctance to see them go. Why? Because Canon offered its 400-plus employees a severance package far exceeding legal requirements. Under a 2.5 N+1 formula, an 18-year veteran could receive 400,000 renminbi. This is the real reason for the outpouring of gratitude. The Canon closure is merely a microcosm. A casual search reveals countless shocking cases. On December 5th, the Zhujiang Financial Asset Exchange Center imploded. Hundreds of investors protested in front of the provincial government, only to be met with riot police who violently arrested them. This institution is 40% controlled by the Zhujiang and Ningbo municipal governments, with shareholders including the provincial finance department and state-owned entities. It involves tens of billions of RMB and is now completely unable to pay investors. This is happening in Zhejiang, supposedly China's wealthiest province, and in a government-controlled financial institution. Compared to that, stories like the Nanjing Gaochun District Court live-streaming crab sales or the Ministry of Public Security's China Police Net live-streaming shoes are mere footnotes, small fry exposed when the economic tide went out. We have said before, the success of Deng Xiaoping's reform and opening was built on a foundation of extremely high American trust in the CCP, to the point that the U.S. helped China's economy expand and build complete industrial chains even at its own expense. That foundation no longer exists under either Democratic or Republican administration. This is why I say the most significant aspect of Trump's national security strategy and the latest NDA is that they have cut off the reform faction's retreat and, by extension, their path to preserve the party through opening. For the elder faction currently in power, removing Ma Xingrui and the rest of Xi's remaining loyalists is child's play and presents no serious difficulty. Although Li Xi also missed the Politburo meeting and there are rumors his family is implicated in the Ma Xingrui case, I do not believe Li Xi himself will be investigated or fall. After all, he is a sitting Politburo Standing Committee member and controls the discipline apparatus. More importantly, he is not part of Xi's innermost circle, unlike Kai Chi or Wang Xiaoyong, so jumping ship would hardly be technically challenging. In short, the elder faction's ongoing purge of Xi loyalists to consolidate power does not in itself resolve the CCP's existential crisis. The notion that simply repudiating Xi's line and returning to reform and opening will make all problems vanish is, strictly speaking, a modern version of marking the boat to find the sword. The era in which simple economic opening could prolong the CCP's life is over permanently. Those who fail to see this clearly are almost certain to repeat the historical tragedy of taking a winning hand and turning it into a losing one. To put it bluntly, popular sentiment has reached the brink of demanding change. In which direction that change ultimately goes will sooner or later become a binary choice. Making that choice is, in fact, not difficult at all.